Welcome. Super happy to have you here. This is TechIDManager demo for March 5th, 2026. We're going to show you TechIDManager as if you have no concept what it does. All you might know is it is privileged account management for managed service providers. On a more technical basis, we do account orchestration for technicians to have access to client infrastructure. We do this in a variety of ways. We do this with just-in-time access. We do this with persistent managed access. We do password rotation on all the accounts we make. We make unique accounts for people. We can make shared accounts for people. We can do this for Entra ID. We can do this for domain controllers. We can do this for individual Windows computers. We can do this for Macs. And we have agents coming that are going to do it for a myriad of other places. All that said, that's a lot. It does a lot of privileged account management specific to MSPs or enterprises that have lots of places that technicians need accounts. We do lots of protection around those accounts, lots of other things. And since we're dealing with privileged accounts and passwords, we also do a very nice password vault. And all of this is based on an underlying infrastructure of asymmetric encryption. That means that every credential generated, made, passed is end-to-end encrypted inside of TechIDManager. That's a lot of fancy words that really means we store as SaaS vendors with cloud hosting. We also have self-hosting as an option, but if you're using our cloud hosting or the self-hosting, we store hundreds of millions of passwords and credentials to all kinds of places. But because we're using end-to-end encryption with asymmetric encryption and different keys for every technician, we can't see, read, or decrypt any of the credentials that we store for people because we don't have the keys to decrypt them. Those keys only exist with each end technician. That's 3 minutes of spew about technical stuff. What you're really here to see is see the product, see how it works, see how easy it is for a technician to use it, to do what a technician needs to do, which when it comes to privileged account management is they need to log in to client infrastructure, machines, domains, whatever it is. Without further ado, let me show you one of the ways that we can log into client infrastructure. What we have on the screen here is this is the TechID client. This is the thick client that runs on technicians' computers, provides them access to all of the credentials that TechIDManager makes or maintains for them. There are the mere possibility to be 10 credentials here or 10,000 credentials here, or even 30,000, 50,000 credentials, whatever your technician needs access to. Each line is a place that TechIDManager makes or maintains access for me as a technician. You'll see here there that some shared accounts, there are some just-in-time accounts, there are some unique accounts on Windows computers, there are some Entra ID accounts, there are Mac accounts, even Mac accounts that are just-in-time. You can mix and match all of those options many different ways. What's important is how a technician can easily use these credentials to get logged in. What I have here is a virtual machine connected to a 2025 server, a DC. When I want to get logged into this machine or any machine on this domain, as a technician, I come here, I'm faced with a login prompt. The person that's logged in, some other user, or the nicest way that TechIDManager provides is we have this tile, the tech login tile. As a technician, I walk up the machine, I select this tile, I select my name from this dropdown, and then a request is sent to my TechID client, whether that is on a smartphone like this with all the credentials, or whether that is in the TechID client itself. I go to Login Request tab, I will see that there is a request I have made for me and only me to log into that machine. All I need to do is click Approve. My credentials are sent securely end-to-end encrypted across the internet, and then I am logged into that machine and I can get done what I need to get done. This works with any Windows computers, domain controllers, servers, all that kind of stuff. So now as a technician, with literally 3 clicks, click to select the tile, click to select my username, and then click to approve my login, which I could have done from my smartphone too, or the thick client on my Windows computer or on my Mac, I'm logged in. And do whatever it is I need to do. I know that this is an account. This specific machine was this kayak machine right here. This is an account that is unique to me on a domain, means that I have rights specifically set for my account. The name on the account is martin.mit@kayak.test. This is a very unique, privileged, managed account just for me to log into this machine. It's really that simple. Technicians come in and out of the TechID client very quickly. You can layer on top of that just-in-time access. This account with this 𝗕𝗏𝐼D account is a just-in-time account. We can see it's 𝗕𝗏𝐼D, unique to me, just-in-time. That means that at some point in the past, a manager said, hey, Martin, you are allowed to, when you need it, enable an account on martin.techidmanager.mail.microsoft.com. It can have these rights, and it will exist for a certain duration of time. When I would like to use that account, I select it, I click enable. Sometime in the next up to 60 seconds, that account will be created if it doesn't exist, enabled, rights provision to it, password set, that password encrypted so that and sent back so that just I can see it. And we can see here, before I could just finish that explanation, that account is now enabled, the green plus. I can use that account anywhere that 𝗕𝗏𝐼D account is the authentication source. So if it is logging onto a machine, logging onto portal.azure.com or Office 365, wherever it is, whatever it is I need to do, I have rights, an account made specifically for me in that tenant. This account will stay active or enabled for some duration of time. That time is configurable. By default, it is 2 hours. After 2 hours, or whatever the configured time is, that account will automatically be disabled. All the rights will be removed from that account, and a password will be set on that account that is never told to anyone. That means that account is dead and unusable for any purpose, but that account is not deleted. It's very important the account is not deleted, so the next time I, as a technician, need to use the same account, I click enable again. That same account, that same UUID, that same traceability, that same accountability is re-enabled, rights re-provisioned to it, new password set, encrypted and sent back so that just I can see it. In that way, with the just-in-time accounts, whether they're on 𝗕𝗏𝐼D or domains or Macs or Windows computers, you get continuity of logging and tracing throughout access, across days, months, weeks, years. Whenever a technician comes in and does something, you can see it was that technician. You can see it as the MSP. Your client or an auditor at the client site can see it. Anybody that looks at the logs from any direction sees who did it and who did what and who did why. This has phenomenal traceability and accountability. It also has subconscious professionalism effects when a person knows they're using an account with their name on it and not a shared admin account. Speaking of shared admin accounts, there are reasons, technological reasons, business reasons, licensing reasons, where sometimes you want to use a shared account. TechIDManager can do that also. We can take over, as in this case, the server administrator account. This is a local Windows computer shared account that we've taken over. We rotate the password every 24 hours. We make sure it stays protected and all those kind of things. We can even layer on top of that, like for this 𝗤𝗏𝗺𝐺𝗵 administrator account, we have layered just in time on top of this local administrator account on a Windows computer that is shared by technicians. That means this account is only enabled when a technician chooses to use it. We can also do that in a non-just-in-time manner. We can also make unique accounts on Windows computers. There are a variety of options you can mix and match. Do privileged account management as you, an MSP, needs to do it. All of these accounts have full traceability and history on them. So if I, let's say, look at this 𝗫𝗏𝗺 account, it's a domain account, and I'd like to see the history on it. This is the history of that account. All the passwords, they changed every 24 hours. Anytime that I might need access to that or need access to a backup that I have brought up and I would like to get logged into and test, I can look here on 2.8 to 2.9. This was my username and my password to get logged in. If I bring up a backup that was made during that time, I can get connected to that machine and logged in without having to put it on the internet because I have a full history of everything that's happened password-wise for me in the system. Same thing exists for shared accounts, that you have access to. There's a lot of organizational structure that you can put in place for organizing these credentials. There's a lot of searching. There's a lot of features here. to help you as help a technician find and get access what they need to get access to. There's also a mobile app that I mentioned before that has all these credentials a technician can set up and have all access to all these same credentials and features in the mobile app, so that if they're in the field, they can sit down in front of a machine, look at a username and password, type it in, or they can use the login tile while sitting in front of a machine, choose their user, accept it on the mobile app, and not actually need to see a password or deal with it. Because we are dealing with so many passwords and accounts, and you only want your technicians to go to one place to get users of passwords, we have a personal password vault, and we also have shareable password vaults. Both the personal vault and the shareable vaults are based on the underlying asymmetric encryption architecture. That means that even the shared password vaults that the technicians are sharing between themselves, are not visible to any person at TechIDManager, any person at Ruffian Software, no matter a level of access or data, or a hacker or a bad actor that gets access to all of our data cannot see, decrypt, or read any credentials that TechIDManager stores. This is part of our fundamental belief system on how security should be done. Passwords should be well protected, and that means that vendors who are storing your passwords should not be able to see them. This is unique to TechIDManager and Ruffian Software in the world of password vaults. Asymmetric encryption is used everywhere for storing credentials. There's a login request tab here. We covered this. There are other tabs there. If you'd like more information about those other tabs, or to see more about the tech client and might have specific questions about it, you can always go to techidmanager.com and request a one-on-one demo. I would also like to show you this is our architecture. I would like to show you portal at ruffiansoftware.com. This is the manager's interface into TechIDManager. As a manager, when you log in, you can log in with a direct account or with SSO. You get a list of all the agents, the technicians, who has access where. There are tons of reports, including this activity report, which has everything that happens in the system. We can even see that during this demo, I made a login request for Kayak. Then we can see that I approved that login request, and then that login request was removed from anybody else, any other place that I had to see it. We can see that I enabled a just-in-time account. I requested the enabling, and it was enabled. Everything that happens in TechIDManager is logged in the activity log report, because traceability is very important to us. These can be downloaded as CSV files. They can also be pushed to SIMs and SIEMs with syslog and other mechanisms. That is a quick general overview of TechIDManager, the privileged account management interface that a technician uses, how a manager can see what's going on. The architecture for this, because I think that's important to show, looks like this. There is the client that we saw that runs on the technician's computer. This has the asymmetric private key in it. This is the only place the private key for that technician exists. That makes the credentials only visible to this technician when they choose to decrypt them. There is the TechID portal, which is where managers go to determine who can have what access, to see what people have done, to kind of manage the whole system. This can be hosted in AWS by us, or you can self-host this if you want to be in charge of all the data, both electronically and physically, for other security compliance reasons. If you're CMMC level 2, if you have customers that demand that you are in charge of that, if you already run a data center and you'd like to put all this infrastructure in your place, super simple. We support that. We have no access to the data. Only you have access to it. And you're in complete control of all the servers. Then there are the agents that you can install where we have agents. There are agents for Entra ID, agents for domain controllers, local machine agents for both Windows and Mac, and we are adding more agents all the time. The agents are what are granted access to actually create the account for each technician, set specific rights to each tech, manage the account for each technician, and rotate passwords for each technician. When they rotate the password, they encrypt it with the technician's public key. Asymmetric encryption means that the public key is the only thing that can encrypt it, and the private key is the only thing that can decrypt it. Having the public key and the encrypted text, you can't tell what the password is. That encrypted information is then sent end-to-end encrypted, and it is only the technician with their private key that can decrypt it and see it. That's kind of the round trip of credentials and keys inside TechIDManager. This is a phenomenal secure system using RSA keys or elliptical curve keys of various sizes to meet the modern requirements. Just to step off on a little tangent here, everybody always talks about post-quantum encryption. These asymmetric things will be post-quantum. As soon as post-quantum encryption is a reality, we're able to swap out all of these keys and this architecture of asymmetric encryption for whatever's available post-quantum. So we're not really worried at all about that. That's just a personal gripe, personal thought off to the side. So that is the architecture of TechIDManager, the TechID client, the portal. The agents are very easy to install. Everything is scriptable via PowerShell or via your RMM. I worked at an MSP for about 12 years, and I'm very familiar with how important it is to be able to script and install and how important it is to do automated installs when a tool like TechIDManager is deployed in mass to both your Windows 8 computers and the domain controllers and Entra ID and Macs and everywhere. All of that is scriptable. It is all very quick, very fast. So that was me speed running through a demo of TechIDManager and some of the highlights on it. We'd love to give you a one-on-one demo, get into more depth with both TechIDManager and your specific use cases and how it can fit your use cases and what type of hosting is best for you. Do this by going to techidmanager.com and requesting a demo, and I or some other technical resource will get on the call with you and discuss it. All right? Thank you all for being here. Hope to talk to you soon directly one-on-one.